This is a lecture on 3-1 and 3-2 graphing calculator. I have my TI-84 plus C Silver edition, and what I did, I've already entered the numbers into my calculator. So let me show you how to do this. So if I quit this menu, I have my screen. What I want to do is I want to click the button Stat, and what you want to do is you need to edit the lists. So under Edit, it says Edit. So push Enter right away. And what you have is you should have L1, L2, L3, L4, and so on. Start typing up your numbers. Start with 104, 107, and type in all of the numbers into your list 1 that are in question 3-7. So if you need to pause the video, please do. So I'm going to quit this menu. Under Stats, the next thing that we want to do is we want to calculate some statistics. So I'm going to go over, and under Calculate, I'm going to have one variable Stats. I'm going to click on that. It's asking me, where is my list? Now, by default, it's going to say L1, but if you need a list of your lists, you're going to go Second, List. You see it's the same Stat button, but second, and there's your choices between L1 and L6. So I'm going to choose L1 because that's what I need. But if it was already there by default, you don't need to click anything. And just go down, ignore the frequency, just means that the list is what it is. And click on Calculate. Now it spits out a lot of stuff. Now this little error over here means that there's more stuff on the bottom, as in you can continue scrolling down and there's a lot of things. So what it just did, it actually calculated more stuff than we need. Let's start with the first one. The X bar, that's my sample mean. It calculated the sample mean as 107.7. If you look at your Excel file, I'm sure that it's exactly the same thing. Now this is a sigma X. The sigma is the sign. Let me point to this larger screen. The sigma it's a capital sigma and it represents the sum. So what it does, it adds up all of your X's. Sometimes we want those, sometimes we don't. The chances are this semester, the first two you're not going to be using. Now the next two is your standard deviations. The calculator doesn't know whether you're talking about a sample or a population as far as the data is concerned. So what it did, it spit out both. It labeled it as S sub X, so the standard deviation of your X's. If it was a sample, it's given to me exactly as what we did on the calculator, on Excel, sorry. And the second one is your standard deviation if it was a population. So therefore, it's labeled as sigma sub X. It is a slightly different value, and if you pick a wrong one, I will take off a point. N is equal to 15. Now this tells me that this is a good checkpoint of whether you've entered everything in the calculator, because what usually happens is we don't mess up on the numbers, we mess up on how many we have. So you've maybe skipped one. This will tell you you should have 15. I have 15. There it is. Now if I start scrolling down, I have more stuff. I have my minimum, I have my maximum, you see 104, 112, so I can use these two values to find my range. I have my median, there is my 109, and one of the Q1 and the Q3 is something that we're going to discuss in the next section.